Hey guys, it's been a minute. It has indeed been a minute. It's been a very, very long time. History here. The last time you seen me, besides in skits of course, was when I was talking about the Final Fantasy VII Remake back in August. Yes, it's been that long time. I've been preparing for this video for that long. Even longer if you're talking about when I started the game and when I finished the game. If you're talking about what game I'm talking about, or if you're thinking about what game I'm talking about, it's Persona 5. I mean, that's Persona 5 Royale, but I'm not talking about Persona 5 Royale, am I? We're talking about Persona 5. Because this is just an expansion pack that they made you pay full price for. So, Persona 5 story is really something, right guys? I've been playing Persona 5 for a little over a year now, and right when I finally finished it in like June or July, boom, they put Golden on Steam for like 20 bucks, so I had to get that because I remember watching the anime for it was nice. It was nice. So after playing that, I'm like, okay, good, cool. That's all I need. Boom, they put P5 Royale on sale for 30 bucks. I'm stuck again. I'm stuck playing Persona 5 again. In order so I won't feel like I'm too stuck, I'm going to be trying to review Persona 5 so it won't feel like I'm wasting my money on the world's most famous, most overhyped RPG / dating sim. But how exactly am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to be splitting this video into two separate videos actually. In this one, which is going to be me talking about the story of Persona 5, and in the next video is probably going to be Darius talking about the social links. So that's pretty cool. And then maybe then I won't feel like I'm too stuck. Damn it. I just bought SMT4 Apocalypse on the 3DS. Oh, now I'm not just stuck in P5, but in SMT as a whole. Yay me. For those who do not know, Persona 5 is the 5th installment in the Persona franchise, one of Atlus's most profitable franchises. There are multiple books, spin-off, and anime just on this franchise alone, and it's not even the main franchise, but it might as well be at this point. Revelations Persona was first released in Japan on September 20th of 1996, then released in North America the following year in November. Nobody really talks about Persona 1 or 2 unless you look at a lot of Persona videos where people discuss them in great length. The main Persona games people talk about are 3 and up. That's when they switched the franchise up and made it more stylized, gave us more fun social link quirks to go along with our gruesome dungeon crawling. Persona is looked at as a gateway game to get into more turn-based RPGs because at this point, it is the most popular, the easiest difficulty-wise, and the most accessible when it comes to getting into. But enough of that, let's finally jump into Persona 5's story. The story for Persona 5 is actually one of the weakest aspects of this game if you ask me. Of course there are some great loving fun parts like the beginning of the story, but there are some parts that you are going to hate. Like the Okumura Palace. I have a fun story about that later. So the story starts off as you would expect of a story of such caliber to start off. You immediately get flung into this weird casino looking place. It looks like a lot of rich people are throwing a party of some sorts, but then we see you, the player, at the top, ready to go. You're running out, trying to escape from something. You get stopped by a shadow, you get into your first fight. Luckily, the move that looks the most pleasing happens to be its weakness. So, you quickly defeat it and make for an escape to never mind, you just got caught by the cops and now you are being interrogated. Wait a second, is this one of those flashback games? Is this entire game going to be a flashback? Is that what you're telling me? Cops are mean. We make our name. Hipshity, obviously. We start to be interrogated by prosecutor Sai Nijima, and that's when our story begins, because remember, we are telling the story to her. So the story starts off as all Persona stories do. You just moved into a new place for reasons. In this game, the reason is that you got arrested and was forced to move into someone else's place during your probation period for some reason. I'm not familiar with law stuff, especially not law stuff in Japan, so to me, I think the only reason you would have to actually move out of a place because you got arrested is, I guess for most part it's witness protection stuff, right? But I'm assuming that's not the case. I'm assuming it's strictly because that was the nearest school available that would accept him. I'm assuming that's the only possible reason that could come to my mind as to why he would move after getting arrested. Did his parents not like him? Did his parents kick him out on purpose? Then why did we want to go back at the end? I don't understand. We didn't look like we had any friends. What? What did he get arrested for? Oh, well, this bald-headed guy was harassing this woman, and the main character tried to stop him. The dude fell, trying to swing at the main character. Then the cops came, and he forced the woman to tell the main character assaulted him, since he's a politician guy with connections. After getting acquainted with the principal in Kawakami, we now find ourselves ready to take on this gruesome new life at Shujin Academy. Shujin Academy. Oh, look! We see him again as we rush to our first day and it starts raining. I wonder, will he have any bearings on the story? Probably not. I'm totally wrong about this, probably, and he won't probably have any part of the story. Am I right, guys? I run into Ryuji. We make our way to school, but for some reason, it's now a castle? And we're about to die? Question mark? And Kamoshida doesn't look like he has any clothes on. Oh, but we save the day when I'll wake my persona in a pretty cool scene. You run into Morgana and make our escape. Later find out that the castle was a distorted version of the real Kamoshida's heart. That's how he views the school and the people inside it. Everyone whose desires become twisted enough in the good or bad way will have a palace. Luckily, the palace owners in the world have no recollection of what happens in their palace. Now I'm going to segment these things off into palaces, since it seems like it'd be the easiest way to talk about this stuff is to just segment them off into palaces. So let's go ahead and go to the first one. The main point of this palace is to tell us that Kamoshida is a piece of shit. But there's one problem with this palace. It's the best fucking palace in this fucking game. Are you kidding me? It's the first palace. It also counts as a tutorial for us to get to learn the game better. How days are spent in this game is school, cutscenes, free time, or dungeon crawling and sleeping. That's basically how this is, but I'm not going to go through every day like some sort of psychopath or whatever. Our first time in Kamoshida's palace, we saw students locked in cages, so Ryuji wanted to see if they were real. They weren't, just distorted cognitions of said people. But they were being tortured, which more than likely means they are in real life as well. So, on the day of the pep rally volleyball showcase thing, we go around asking students stuff, but no one wants to talk to a criminal and a delinquent. A few days, we switch over to An and Shiho's point of view, where it's fairly obvious that Shiho's only on the volleyball team because Kamoshida wants a piece of An. Is that okay? Isn't that fucking weird? Aren't we like second years? Doesn't that mean sophomores? Ew. Gross. Calm down. One day during class, Shiho had enough. She had enough of the beatings and drama that goes on in the school. She couldn't take it anymore, so she tried to end it all by jumping off the roof. Somehow she wasn't dead, but man, that was fucking heart-wrenching. That was an eye-opener, not only for the audience, but An as well. She hates Kamoshida now, and we do as well now, especially us, the audience. Personally, for me, this jump attempt made me shocked, made me horrified, made me wonder, how could the stakes in this game get any more higher than in this first story? Sadly to me, it couldn't. It couldn't get any higher. This is the high points of the drama to me Technically, I mean personally. After the attempt, we stormed into Kamoshida's office. He threatened to expel us in a certain amount of days, so now we had to use those days correctly to go through the palace, start social links, buy items, and equipment, all in that certain amount of time, which obviously we did, and we defeated Kamoshida afterwards too. None of the boss fights, palace epilogues, or anything to me was as impactful as this one. It took you through all the ropes and made this Kamoshida character go from someone that's just a dick to someone who you hate to your core. None of the bosses elicit that type of emotion from me as much as Kamoshida's did, and it gets you hooked. Just like that. Next is Madarame's palace, and the start is fairly basic. After our celebration and making a name for our group, which sadly I just picked the default name in my first playthrough, An finds herself being stalked. Once we end up devising a plan to look at this said stalker, I just fucking knew that he was going to be an artist ever since then. I loved Yusuke. I fucking love Yusuke. Even though he'll always be the last choice for me to start a social link with. I love his character. I just don't love it to the point of starting a social link with him. I don't know why. Yusuke invites us to a museum. We go. Madarame is there being interviewed by lots and lots of media. We end up getting trampled on, trying to get out. So now our plan is for An to go in and be Yusuke's French girl, basically. We try to get him to talk, but he doesn't. He says he can't concentrate, and then we go into the palace once we find out the right coordinates. Damn it, I forgot to talk about the nav. How could I forget to talk about the nav at this point? Jesus Christ. So I have this app on my phone, I can't delete it. That's what forces me and Ryuji to get into the palace at first, and anyone that's around during that time accidentally goes in and gets the app on their phone as well. To enter the palace, you need a name, a location, and a thing of desire. So Kamoshida's was his name, Sujin Academy, and a castle. And Madarame's is his name, his house, and museum. Once we enter the palace and look around, we notice that all of Madarame's pupils are just portraits in his distorted view because he steals their work and claims it for his own. We later come back and try to finish going through the palace, but a room in his house needs to be unlocked and he has to see it for that section to be open. To do so, we have to come up with a plan, and the plan is for An to accept Yusuke's nude painting offer. I mean, this game is rated M. They're probably gonna show some. No, they don't show anything. It is rated M, but they don't show anything. A big kerfuffle happens, and An and Yusuke end up in the room while Madarame watches. Ryuji and I are in the palace and clear it to the security room to make sure that they stay off, and An and Yusuke somehow drop in. Yusuke gets his awakening and easily is the coolest fucking dude. I know, he is the coolest dude. I'm sorry, I can't do his socially for some reason. We finish the palace, slap Madarame up, and Yusuke joins the squad. As a follow-up palace, this is basically the same as Kamoshida's. He uses and abuses his powers on people that are, in his eyes, lesser than him, just so he can keep his notoriety as a famous person, and always looked at as someone that is good, in a sense. But story-wise, it's really basically the same. The only good thing this palace has about it is that its design is far better than the first palace. But overall, yeah, it's just an palace for me. It's just mostly because of the story. Now it's time for Kanashiro's palace. What can I possibly say about Kanashiro? This is easily the easiest palace. He's a weak-ass boss. We had to defeat him to save R and Makoto's reps. He's a fucking dumbass fly. And now Queen Makoto is the best and is part of the squad. No, that's literally it. I don't want to think anything else about this palace. Don't want to see anything about this palace. Kanashiro's the easiest boss I've ever fought. I don't even remember the palace. That's how easy this was, and that's how quick I went through it. Futaba's palace is the only one to break the mold of what we know as people that own palaces. She's not a bad guy, none of the sorts. She was a scared little girl, traumatized and manipulated to believe that she killed her mother. She didn't want to say that to us right away until she found out that we needed help to stop this cyber hacker group known as Medjed. So she got in contact with us. How did she do that? She hacked into my phone and started messaging me, the player, as Alibaba. Once she found out that we had to know the name, place, and object of desire, she was a little less keen and even wanted to stop it, but we needed her help really bad, so we kinda forced our way in to help her? Question mark? And that's not really a good guy thing to do, but I mean, go off guys. We got this. Her palace was huge. Since she was a shut-in and doesn't know the layout of her city really that well, everything was different, and not just the place she stays in. We're basically in Egypt. Literally, we're in the fucking pyramid as desert place of Egypt. I think that's what Egypt looks like. Don't hold me to it. That's just what images and Yu-Gi-Oh makes you believe. She ends up gaining the courage to come in, confront her fears, find out the truth, awaken her persona, and we defeat the distorted version of her mom that lives within her. That's the only different palace in this game. I love this. I'm not sure why, but this is literally the only palace that is different in terms of the setting of the palace and the person not necessarily being evil, actually being someone you have to help out and not stop. I'm not sure why this is the only one, but it definitely helps it stand out, and story-wise and palace-wise, exploration-wise, this is probably one of the best palaces on here. 100%. I hated Kumura's palace. I hate it. I know a lot of people hated it in the original P5, but I didn't have a problem with it with my original playthrough Persona 5. It wasn't until fighting him in P5 Royale that I come to realize I hated him. I hated the palace in the entirety, more specifically just the boss fight, where it took me a good day or two to finally finish him, and after I finished the boss, I haven't returned to the game since. So, I can fairly say, I hated Kumura's palace. Basically, after getting Futaba, Morgana is starting to feel useless since Futaba is now the navigator and tells us everything we need to know. Forgetting that he's not useless cause I need his win ability to help me, Ryuji shits on him for being useless and, well, he storms off and tries to take the palace on himself. Why, Morgana? Why? There are aspects of this I love and aspects of this I hate. I love Haru, she's such a sweetie. I can make flowers with her all day. I hate the fact that Morgana and Ryuji have this forced falling out and refusal to squash their beef. I think their banter is just that. Bantering between friends. Nothing of malintent. Also, kinda hate Haru's dad and Haru's fiance, but their characters we're supposed to hate, so I guess that's fine. Haru is supposed to get married to help her father, the owner of Akumura Foods, go up in the political world. He sees Haru as not a person but a tool to help him felicitate his need for power. We make our way through the palace, open up gates, flying through space. The boss fight was okay. I don't remember struggling as much in the original as I did in Royale. Haha. I don't understand why they felt the need to make Morgana the major player in this arc as well. Did they think Haru as a character was too bland for her struggles to work as the entire plot? Then why not just make the character better? It's as easy as that. It really is as easy as that. Oh, and also, from Madarame and Kaneshiro, in their dying breath, they mention a guy in a black mask. That person was not someone in the group, that person was the one causing mental shutdowns. Well, we wanted Akumura to answer our questions about him, but the masked murderer, intruder, killed Akumura when we left the palace. Ooh. Mystery going on here. Ooh. From design alone, it doesn't get bigger than this palace. You're in space now, shooting from floor to floor, punching robots in the face. Sadly though, this is the weakest story in all of Persona 5. I love Haru. I love Haru as a character. But they literally make her take a backseat in her own development arc. That's so funny. To Morgana of all people. I'm not sure why they did that. Also, I agree with most people that reviewed this part of Persona 5, where they state that there are way too many robots in here and too little personas for you to capture. Morgana's temper tantrum that he had in this arc really brought this story down for me. So, I don't even like this part. I don't like this part. I don't care for this part at all. Now, we are inside Nijima's palace. We know how this is going to end, but how does it begin? The palace started off with Akechi-kun coming to us for help. He said that Nijima is planning to blame the murder of Okumura on the Phantom Thieves, and the only way we can change that is by going in and changing her heart, because somehow he knows about this stuff and we just gotta sit here like, damn, he found out, whoa, that's crazy, oh my god, this guy, he's like so smart, Jesus Christ, he's definitely not the masked intruder guy that they keep talking about, definitely not, no! This palace was absolutely the most fun you can have in a palace. Since it's literally a casino, you can play dice, slots, roulette, it's literally just a hella fun time. But it's also the most saddening. Well, on the way to escape the palace, the beginning cutscene plays, so you already know how this is going to end. You come into the interrogation room, and you know, you're now having a full-on conversation with Sai. If you are anything like me, either A, ask chat what they want you to choose, or B, even after they decide, you choose the one you want anyways. Somehow you end up talking Sai into making Akechi look at your phone or something, and he comes in, goes crazy, shoots you, you die. Like, wow, that's really how they ended it. That's really how they ended Persona 5. I guess I have better things to do with my life now if that's just how they're gonna end it, with the character just dying like that from some crazy ass guy that thinks he's the smartest thing alive. Oh no, wait, this is just a ploy to make Akechi and the rest of the world think that the Phantom Thieves are no more, which you only tell because Ryuji smiles somehow, always not keeping kayfabe for Ryuji, are you there? When you come back, you are now hiding from the world, and now it's time for, technically, the final palace. As the first palace, when you're finally caught up to the present time in the game, I love this. Nijima was one of those characters I really wanted to know more about, and after seeing the cognitive version of herself, jeez, I'm happy I did. This palace isn't the grandest, but if there is a fun factor, I need this palace to be on there. There are so many little games you can play in here, even on the boss level. This is a casino, for Christ's sakes, and they make sure you can play every game that makes it look like a casino, basically. Dice, basically all casino stuff. Story-wise, I really liked it as well. It also picked up based on the stories. You got to see yourself fake your own death for somebody. So pretty cool in my book. That's right. It has been built into this. The guy that got you arrested. The guy running for mayor with connections all over the world. The guy behind stealing Wakaba's research. And he's also Akechi's father. It's Shido. The palace was super unique, is what I would say, but it was a simple, by the notes, palace. The palace is a ship because Japan was completely submerged underwater, as Shido and a specifically hand-picked people are kept above this boat. We work our way through, trying to get the permission we need to enter the assembly hall. We're having a good decent time doing it, but there's one big fight in here that I wasn't prepared for. Goro Akechi's fight. working for his father so he can kill him himself one day. Akechi ends up being defeated, then his cognitive version that Shido sees as him walks in. The obedient little soldier. Goro seals us off and fights his cognitive version. Goro definitely didn't make it out alive, but I understand him better now. The player character and him are basically the same, they just walked on different paths. The Shido fight was, interesting, I guess? A bit overpowered, having a switch up strategy, and basically defeat him 3 times back to back to back, but still, nothing to be upset with. He was the final boss, of course, so it's completely fine to have him be super hard. He what? Wait, wait a second. He wasn't the final boss? Oh no, what does this mean? So I didn't know this, but there are a good bit of people that hate mementos. I can see why to an extent. It's this massive 100 or more floors that is presented as optional, but at the end, it becomes the main focus because it's the only thing you can do to change everyone's mind about Shido. I cannot imagine having an excessive amount of floors to complete before you can even fight the final boss. Not just an excessive amount, all the floors to complete because you just thought it was optional, so you didn't really do as much as you could. Jesus Christ, may somebody help us. But luckily for me, I did like 50 beforehand because you had to for some of the social links. So yeah, only had to do 50, so it wasn't that hard for me. I think I finished it fairly quickly. And now it's time for the boss. Once we reach the end, it's now boss time, right? Now we had to do a palace infiltration version of the depths of mementos. It wasn't hard, but they put you in situations that you are forced to be seen by enemies after cutscenes, but this palace was simple. Morgana even says he is close to finding out the truth about himself. We end up in front of this golden cup that's literally sucking the life out of everybody, like it's literally, you know, the hub or something. Deciding fates for all humanity is what it wishes. It is the Holy Grail. Basically, we can't defeat it, and mementos and reality starts to merge as we fade from existence in a pretty sad scene, if you ask me. I end up in the Velvet Room, thinking I chose the wrong ending or something, but it's all good. It turns out Igor was a fake, and it was the Holy Grail all along. And the twins were actually one being. The Holy Grail, which reveals himself to be Yaldabaoth, and forced a decision for me to make. I chose the obvious one for me to make. I ran away so I can live another day. No, I'm kidding. I chose to fight. Obviously, I chose to fight. It definitely didn't like that. I had to go through some more passages, and finally, it's time for the boss fight. Yaldabaoth was both hard and too fucking difficult, all at the same time. I could always get to a certain point, then he hits me with the charge attack, and that should be blockable, but it's not blockable. And it happens over and over again, and I fucking die. I hate it. No matter how many times I tried, I kept dying over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. But on a random day of me trying, I finally did it. I finally beat Yaldabaoth. I defeated this big ass angel thing. So the day is saved. The day is so saved. But I still have to serve my time in prison. Are you fucking kidding me? When I got out, the gang was waiting on me. And, you know, we kind of left on a road trip. So happily ever after, I guess, right? The depths of mementos was long. You basically had to go through 2 palaces, so many mini-bosses, and you also had to fight the Holy Grail once, before you can even get to Yaldabaoth. But once you finally get to it, I think it's worth it. I think his boss fight is definitely worth it. I love the difficulty of this boss. Some things was a bit much, like the charge attacks that could basically kill you in one shot, but I think it's worth it. The palace, on the other hand, although it's super creepy and stuff and it looks a bit darker and eerie, it is still a by-the-books palace. There's really nothing that stands out from it except for the boss and the fact that it's the end. That's literally the only thing that makes it stand out from a regular palace. So that's what I think about the palace. But the boss is fun. The boss is so fun and so difficult. It takes you days to beat. I mean, if you had to try so many times like myself here. But I think it's worth it. You get a sense of gratification after you beat it. I mean, I didn't because I was surprised that I beat it. I thought I died, but you get a sense of gratification. I'm pretty sure you will. Overall, this game is insane, filled to the brim with too much content, 100 plus hours that took the completionists 500 hours to get all of the achievements done. There is so much that you'll have to do multiple playthroughs to do it all. I had my fair share of laughs, cries, being angry at bosses, and at characters even, but somehow with this game being so long, I grew bonds with some of these characters that I feel in reality. I feel it to my heart in reality. Even though I say the story is just alright, or like subpar, there's something about this, about the characters, and the nostalgia you feel by the end of it that makes you want to play it again, and there are the Persona games and SMT games alike. I cannot wait for Persona 6. God damn it, why did I have to get into this now? Fuck, now I had to wait so long for P6. Oh no, I had to feel the delay. Said you guys vote for P5 for P6. Damn it. We're already filled with Persona 5 strikers. Oh no. How will P6's delay feels? Oh no. But, yeah. That's basically it. That's the story of Persona 5 that I somewhat like, but I don't like at the same time. Some of the characters are cool, some of the characters aren't. Some of the villains are really, really good. Some of the villains are super shit, like Kaneshiro and Okumura. Some are okay. Which ones did I like? I like Kamoshida. What other ones I like? I like Shido himself. Sai Nijima was okay. Or pretty good. Who else? That's really it. That's really it. The rest were just subpar or really shit, in my opinion. But hey, that's just me. Oh, Futaba's Palace was a fucking amazing, but it wasn't necessarily a boss or an enemy really, so you can't really say that much about that. I think for the palaces, if I had to rank them, it'd definitely be Futaba's is number 1. Then Kamoshida's right under there. Everything else, it's really up in the air, because I didn't really care for all the other ones that much. But that's just my opinion. What's your opinion, guys? Leave your opinions in the comments down below, and tell me why you hate someone else for making another Persona 5 review. Hoo-hoo. No, I'm kidding. I have held back for doing this for a bit because so many people have made Persona 5 videos, but I don't know. I've played it, so why not talk about it? Why not talk about it with you guys? I think that's a fun thing to do. It opens myself up to you guys. I leave the floor to you guys for the likes, for the comments. Hell yeah. But yeah, that's it. Enjoy. Bye. Darius is doing the Why I Love Persona 5 social links or whatever for next week. Potentially. Maybe, depending on how long these videos take. Bye. Hirshidi out. Peace. Hirshidi out. Hell yeah.